Yeah.
That's
Okay. That's much better.
yeah.
Great.
And because my computer, my phone was freezing, and then it ended up shutting down. It was just
Okay.
crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we've got you. So that's good. And people are
Okay.
joining. So
Yes.
hello, everybody. Thank you for joining today's conversation. So yeah, as I said before we got cut off, thank you for allowing me to interview you about such an important topic. You are doing so much for the culture, inspiring so many people. And what I admire a lot is your strength to pursue and continue to do what you're doing. Since the age of 14, you've been doing this, and you're striving and you're still doing it. So this conversation is going to be a great one, and I'm really excited to kind of talk deeper and get to know you and just get to hear more stories. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
No worries, no worries. So how are you? First of all, how are you?
You know what, I'm doing good. Since today is we're talking about mental health, and it's also World's AIDS Day, and so I just basically, this is my therapy. It's just like beading.
Yes.
Yeah, so I have literally, that's exactly what I do in order for me to just kind of detox, and everything is just, I just bead. And
Wow.
I completed this medallion right here.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a gift. I mean, it's an order that I fulfilled, but
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
that's beautiful. Do you have any more to show?
Yeah. I promoted, and then I just finished these earrings to match of the Eye of Ra.
Oh wow.
So, yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah. That's what I do for, just in order for me to just detox and just to kind of get my mind right. It's basically beading.
Wow. And it's lovely how it's so therapeutic for you, but then therapeutic for us to actually receive such a beautiful gift. Oh, that's lovely. I like that. And it's very creative. I love it. That's nice.
Thank you.
Lovely. That's lovely. Okay, so let's kind of get hi. Thank you for calling us a queen. Thank you. So let's get started. Have you ever spoken about mental health, first of all?
Yeah, I have. I have spoken about mental health on many, many different various levels. My mother, Juanetta Longwell, she passed away in 2003, but she actually was a counselor, substance abuse, gang prevention, mental health. I mean, she was a director for a Native American rehabilitation center in Arizona. And so she did a lot of workshops and things like that. So I actually grew up in a home with my mom where, if she felt like there was any issue that she saw it on our face, she's like, let's sit down, let's talk. And she actually would have people come over. Yeah, like the issues that was going on in my home wasn't just my issue, like she always had like her sister friends come over. It just seemed like everything that was happening in our house was like her little tribe of her little community, So that's the type of, I really grew up in a very communal type of environment, and so yeah, so I grew up around talking about mental health and just ways to be able to come, to live a life of more positivity.
Oh wow! May your mum rest in peace, but her legacy will live on, and that's beautiful. That your mum did that, and she raised you up to kind of be that type of person. And it's lovely to see that you're still continuing with her legacy and still doing great things. So that's lovely, and that means a lot. I'm happy for interviewing you. Okay, so you're the you're the star of the BET show Cop Watch. And
yeah, I'm one of the activists on the show.
And that takes strength. What you do takes strength.
Yeah.
And I've watched your interviews. I've watched your interview with the Breakfast Club, and I've watched other interviews that you've done. I've checked out your website, and what you do takes a lot of strength and a lot of courage. And I want to say thank you, first of all, because someone needs to do it, and you're the right person. But how do you feel doing it? You've done it for so long, since you've been 14. How do you feel now that you've done it for so long? How does it make you feel?
It took me a minute in order for me to really find my purpose.
Okay.
I think finding your purpose is something that is a level of joy that fulfills you, that where even in the horrific work that I do, it is horrifying. It's constantly very, very depressing, you know, and but I'm in my purpose. And when when we were created, when we was one of these star beings and choosing our parents and then coming into, you know, life, God already knew exactly what our purpose is to be. It's our choice in order for us to be able to try to find that. And we always try to find different hobbies or things like that. And, you know, I used to rap, I used to dance, I used to do like a lot of entertaining type of stuff. And I thought that was my purpose. But it wasn't until I began to start giving and helping and seeing our people unite through the things, the works that I was doing, even in regards to giving, it's to helping a family get justice or helping a family bring awareness on what happened to their loved one. There was a certain level of joy that I cannot explain that ended up helping me find my purpose. Wow. And so now at the age of 41, I now am in a place of my purpose where that is a joy. And so I get sad. I do go through my little ways of basically feeling frustrated and things like that. But there is also a certain level of joy that I have as I'm doing this work, you know. And so as activists, we do deal with PTSD. You know, I've spoken to many people that are in the service that are, you know, former veterans, and they're like, well, how can you all get PTSD? I'm like, well, we've been abused by the police, by militarized police, where we didn't have anything to arm ourselves but our voices, our fists, you know, in the air, you know, at each other, and basically prayer. And so, but in retaliation, as you saw probably in London, it's off the chain in London, you know, especially against Black Londons, you know, black people there. But the tear gas, the rubber bullets, the batons, the abuse that they give to us is war. So we do deal with levels of PTSD. And how we are able, or anxiety, social anxiety, feeling like, oh my God, I put myself so much out there, and then now I'm getting death threats. Now I'm getting, so there's so many different levels that so many activists are dealing with. And I think that mental health is so important with these levels for activists and organizers, and even those that are not activists that are looking at a video of seeing another Black and brown person getting murdered becomes a trigger. You're like, oh my God, because, you know, it's becoming so normal to see someone on camera being murdered. And that right there is a problem for us to have normalized that. You know, that right there is, do I need to get help in regards to my unemotional attachment? Why am I only, you know, I could see someone get shot on camera and then I could scroll to the next meme and not really take what you just saw in, you know? So I really feel, and I remember, you know, my great, you know, my great aunts or the elders that I know, they would see this type of trauma without the camera, but up close. These revolutionaries that are my elders, and then, but they would, okay, we got to keep working. So they too wouldn't normalize it either. It was like, imagine those that was fighting with Dr. King and they was getting the dog sicked on them and getting beat, or with Billie Holiday seeing, you know, people hung on trees, you know, in order, and so, and how that, even though that wasn't normal, but how we normalize, they too probably normalize that. So I feel that it's a generational thing in regards to people of color, of how we just need to accept this trauma that happens to us and that we're seeing, and then continue to just think that it's just normal. And like that's what Black women go through. That's what Black men go through. That's what Native people go through. That's what Latino people go through. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that's just keep on keeping on. Yeah, and that's an issue that we have to address. That was a lot of your answer, but yeah.
No, I loved it because you went very, very deep, and I like how to finish with, you know, it's kind of like in our culture, it's normalized to believe that, oh, that's what we go through. So then what triggered in my mind just now is the music. So in our music, it's been normalized in our music. So we're listening to music and we're liking the music and we're normalizing what we're hearing and we're normalizing, you know, the things that we're listening to, but it's actually very traumatic. And it shouldn't be something that should be normalized. It shouldn't be something that should be enjoyed and, you know, played at parties or whatnot. It should be something that's really deeply meaningful and, you know, done for a purpose. So you're going to make this music for a purpose. You're going to do this for a purpose. And like you said, it's within our culture. And I feel like it's been ingrained in us. And I don't know what it's going to take for it to change, because it does need to change within the culture, because it's only our culture that even in the UK, it's in our culture that I see it. And likewise in the US, it's in our culture that you see it. So it's something that's going on that's kind of culturally that we need to come together and stop normalizing what we see when it's wrong and when it's traumatizing, because just like you said, that can trigger PTSD. You know, when you're exposed to such horrific things and such trauma, it can cause PTSD. And, you know, then are we normalizing that? And are we normalizing how we're feeling to these types of situations? So that's very powerful, very powerful. I also want to congratulate you because I watched on the Breakfast Club where you said at the age of 14, you got the first cop fired. It
was a group of police.
Age 14. That is incredible. Age 14. So, you know what? I bow down to you, because that is, at age 14, I was probably playing out, running around, but you're there doing amazing things. So that's amazing, and it's so inspiring to see your passion and, you know, you're striving what you want to do, and it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful feeling, and I just feel so passionate. And I'm loving all the love hearts that I'm seeing on the comments, because it really reflects and it really shows, and it just feels really good. It feels really good. So within the US, how is mental health looked upon? Is there a lot of support out there when it comes to mental health, or how is it?
No, and I think that, you know, with the mainstream entertainment community, it's really starting to push for mental health awareness. You know, you have people like Dr. Jess, you know, who's amazing. You know, she's a great sister friend of mine. And then you have Charlamagne the God that really pushes and talks about that, you know. But in regards to the police, you know, in regards to resources, who do we call when there is something, when we see a person going through a manic situation? You know, we don't have the resources like that to be able to reach out, to call. And in 911, the police are not trained for mental breakdowns, you know, and they're just trained to shoot and kill. You know, I had a situation in August, the end of August, with my son, and, you know, and I was like, my 18-year-old, and I was like, oh my God, like, I didn't want to call the police. So, because I knew that if I called the police would have murdered my son. This conversation would be a different conversation. And so what I did was I tried my best to remain calm and just have my son leave the home.
Mm.
You know, and I just, because my life and my 8-year-old's life was threatened. And so, and I didn't want to call the police, and I was just like, let me just try to talk him into just leaving the house, you know, just so that I had to save one son from the other son. Like, you know what I'm saying? In my life, it was a very difficult position for me to be in. And some that know what happened was like, why didn't you call the police? And I said, the police would have murdered my son. You know, we look at, and here in Atlanta, Georgia, we have Anthony Hill, who was a veteran. And he had a mental health illness. And he ended up going into a manic situation where he ended up taking off all his clothes and he was naked. And so when someone called the police, he said, the police are my friends. They're not going to do anything to me. And so the officer ended up shooting Anthony Hill dead. And just this past month, that officer was now sentenced to prison. But see, that's one of the many stories where these officers are still free for killing people that had a mad episode from their mental illness. And so I feel that, you know, and even within our families, we have to really start addressing mental illness when we see in certain things with our cousin, our uncles, our aunties, or whoever, and just address it like something's not right. Let's try to see if we could try to get them help, or what are the resources, you know. When you're having a child, when you're pregnant, one thing with my second child, I dealt with postpartum depression really bad. Like really, really bad. And thank God that I addressed it and went to a therapist and was like, can you help me? Because I don't like the thoughts that I'm having. I don't like how I'm feeling. Something's just not right. And I know postpartum shouldn't be, you know, 5 months later. You know, postpartum depression shouldn't be 5 months later. I thought I would be out of this by now, you know. And I think that from postpartum to just from bipolar, schizophrenia, like there's just different levels. I think we really need to begin to address that, and it's okay to ask and look for help, you know, and it's okay to talk to someone. You know, I feel that you know, many insurances can afford some therapists and counselors. You know, you can find counselors and therapists that look like you. You know, you'll be able to know exactly who you can be able to go to, you know. And with me, I went through a certain type of therapy in order for me to be able to help myself, in order for me to be able to take in certain things so it's not a trigger for me anymore. When I would, you know, with certain situations that I've been through in my life, or if I see something, I'm not triggered like I used to be, just because of the type of therapy that I was going through. So I really believe, so I'm all for counseling. I'm not, since I was a child, I never was the one to sweep things under the rug in our family. I was always like, nah, let's address it, you know. And because my mother was the same way, my mother would be like, no, let's address this and talk about it now. And that's just how I am as well. You know, like, let's not don't sweep how you're feeling under the rug. If you feel a certain way about someone, it could be even little things. However you feel about someone, or if you don't agree, don't sweep everything. Address it right then and there, and it actually makes you feel better, you know, as well as the other person, you know.
Definitely. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Off the top of that, how did you find the strength to ask for help when you were struggling after your pregnancy?
It was my brother. My brother, he's my youngest brother, my only brother. But he was staying with me at the time, and he was like, you getting really snappy and angry for no reason. And he was like, I think you may need a, you know, so he's the one that put the mirror in my face.
Wow.
And I said, okay. And then guess what the when I went to therapy, from postpartum depression, guess what my problem was of why I was getting snappy and angry? It was I needed sleep.
Oh, wow. Wow.
That's exactly what. So my doctor, she was like, you know what? She said, you need sleep. She said, so you may need to ask someone to watch your son for, 5 hours and go take a nap, remove yourself from the baby and go take a nap. And after that, oh my God, I was feeling like a whole new person. So who would have thought, like, a counselor just needed to tell me I needed to sleep.
Wow. And that's amazing, because like you said, who would have thought your counselor would have said sleep? And I feel that as parents, when we have kids, when we feel quite stressed and quite pressured, we then kind of internalize that, and then we feel bad if we need that time to have for ourselves, or we need that time to, like you said, give our child to someone for us to just sleep. And so, if there's any mothers watching or listening, that's an amazing kind of testimony for you to just understand and just know that, you can have that time for yourself to do whatever it is, whether it's go to sleep, whether it's have a bath, whether it's go for a walk. You can have that time to disattach yourself from your child for the moment, to focus on yourself, because your mental health, if you don't feel mentally stable, then you're not going to be mentally stable for your child. So it was good that your brother told you that you need to see someone, and you took that advice and you saw someone and they said you needed to sleep, and you slept and you felt like a whole new person. And when it comes to mental health, a lot of the time people feel that it has to be something mentally for you to go and speak and see someone, but like for yourself, it was something physical. So it was manifesting physically, but affecting you mentally, and then you needed to sleep, and then you felt much better.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. That's nice. Thank you for your brother. Well done. So he was actually very observant, and he knew you, and he knew the person you were, and he was able to identify, you're getting a bit snappy. I think you should maybe speak to someone, or, see if you can get some support. And that's a good thing, see it, talk about it and get some support for it. So you mentioned in the beginning that you do your beading, which is lovely. I love creative things, and creativity is very therapeutic for the mind. How else do you take care of your mental well-being? You're doing so much, and you're exposed to a lot of trauma, a lot of violence, like you mentioned. How do you take care of your mental well-being?
My children are my joy. I mean, they really, especially my 8-year-old. My 18-year-old, he's off doing his own thing, but my 8-year-old, he just, he has all of these healing rocks. He has a whole altar of healing rocks. He's been into them since he was like 1 and 2 years old.
Wow.
And so sometimes he'll see like the look on my face, and I don't even know, if he even knows the rocks. He knows the rocks, but he knows which energy is giving me. But he'll say, "Mom, hold on to this."
Wow.
I think this will, another thing is that he's only 8. Oh, he's powerful for an 8-year-old.
How powerful!
Yes, and the other thing that I do is I take long walks and hike amongst these trees, and just how beautiful. I love to go outside and to be able to just to be able to be one with nature. I think it's really, really important for us to constantly remain grounded. I take social media detoxes. I have a team of people that help me with my social media, so I'm not on it so much, which is a blessing. And so I take social media detox. I think it's really important to detach yourself from these mechanisms, get yourself out the matrix. I watch Black Mirror, and I'm watching right now The Feed on Amazon. Right, I've been binge watching this. So being attached to these technology could really be harm. Could really give you harm, and also it won't And I will also say just meeting new people or conversations with just people that you happen to meet could just be healing itself, because we could be so attached to technology and to these phones and to the computers that we forget human touch and human communication and human interaction. You know, I think that is therapeutic as well. It's just to get outside. You know, it's beautiful today. Me and my son are gonna go for a hike, and just to, you know, listen to the birds. And so I do things like that in order for me to kind to get grounded again. You know, starting tomorrow, I'll be releasing a video of a young man in the Bronx that was murdered by police. They actually stripped his clothes off. And so I'll be releasing that tomorrow. So today I'm going to just, you know, go outside, and you see I'm beading now, and I'm going to go outside and take a hike, and just to ground myself, because I know that starting next week, you know, starting Monday is just going to be a very, very heavy week. You know, I'm releasing this video. I'm doing a cop watch party event, screening event in Miami during Art Basel. And basically, you know, and I'm meeting with families that lost their loved ones to police brutality. And so all of that is going to be a very, very heavy week this week, you know. So I want to make sure that before I start my week, that I ground myself spiritually, emotionally, mentally, you know. So and another thing too, I always tell like other people like that also do this work with me, I said, take in these moments, take in every moment, and inhale each moment, and do breathing exercises. I think something as simple as taking a minute out of your day and just inhaling and exhaling could be able to just give it puts oxygen back up to your brain and to and I also believe that you take in moments. And so even in the midst of me organizing or in working, I do take in little small moments of conversations, or little small moments of just, you know, of being completely silent, you know, and just being completely still. You know, in the Bible it says God says be still, you know, and that's a blessing in being still, because that also helps as well as to center yourself.
Yes. Oh, that's amazing. That's it. You know what? You're so powerful, and I feel the power. Like I really do feel it, because what you do is takes so much strength. But then when you're sitting here and you're so strong and you're so vibrant and you're so confident, it just goes to show that, you know, you're just doing amazing stuff. What you're doing is amazing. I've literally lost the words. It's so inspiring, and I love speaking to people like you who are doing such great things. But at the same time, you're taking good care of your mental health as well as what you're doing, and you're always putting as well as you are helping others, you're also ensuring that you put yourself first, and that you stay centered and you take care of your children. So that's so inspiring, and just I wish you well in everything that you do. I know you're going to be doing amazing things. You're doing amazing things already. I pray that God blesses you with everything that you do. Thank you for doing what you do. You're inspiring so many people, and
thank you.
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's been amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, and all praises are due to God. And thank you so much for, you know, having me on this live. And you know, and this is a conversation that I love to talk about.
Yes,
you know? A lot of people don't know like the things that I love to talk about, but but I would say that mental health and wellness and all of, you know, that is just something that I love to talk about is wellness, because, you know, I would say that it's so important for us to be well in whatever it is that we're doing. We have to be able to have a sense or knowing of good health and wellness and whatever it is. And because our time on this life is short. You know, it's not long. It's very short when you really think about it. And so we have to live each day to the utmost fullest. And in order for us to really, really be able to do that, we have to constantly keep ourselves in a positive manner, in a positive way. And I've lost about 15 friends and family this year. 15
Mm-hmm.
friends and family. I started off this year with my cousin. He committed suicide right when I landed in South Dakota, and I was going to my great grandmother's funeral, you know, and he committed suicide. And so that's how I started off my year of January. And then after that, it just was a rippling effect. And you know, I knew Nipsey Hussle, and, you know, when that happened, and then it was just back to back to back to back. And so it really had me realize and see that we have to be able to take each other's relationships, the people that we know, and even how we view life in a more positive way. We cannot take this time that the Creator has given us for granted.
Yeah.
You know, we can't get so caught up in our own insecurities or in our own fears, and we can't let that overcome us, because we never know what tomorrow is going to bring. And, you know, and just cherishing that time. And I think that that's something that's really important for us, you know, for us as we're living our life, is to take in. So sometimes as I'm driving, you know, I just turn off my music and I'll just look at the small things of the trees and seeing how they're swaying, or looking and taking in everything that we see, everything that we smell, everything that we hear, because there's people that cannot see. Yes. There's people that cannot hear. There's people that can't even talk. And so we have to be able to take in all of these senses and all of these feelings and all of everything that the Creator has given us and blessed us with. Yeah. Because you never know what tomorrow is going to bring, you know? So I think that that's really, really important for us, you know, because and to fulfill everything you said that you want to do in life, you know? And one of the things that I've been saying I've been wanting to do that I haven't got a chance to do, I only have one passport stamp. I've been to Cuba, and that was it.
Wow.
I've never traveled the world or anything. And I keep on telling myself every year, I'm like, okay, this is the year.
Yeah.
I want to come to London. You know, I have friends in London, and I have friends, I want to go to Africa. I want to go to a lot of places, and I keep telling myself, and I'm like, oh, you know, I need to just make this happen. So, you know, but whatever it is that you want to do, just do it, you know, and that's how I did with Cuba. I just was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy me a plane ticket and let's just go. Yeah. And I did, you know, and I had a wonderful time. I was like, oh, wow, you know. Yeah, so, you know, just don't let this world limit you. You know, don't be of this world. You know what I'm saying? Like, and don't let it limit you of everything that you would like to accomplish, do in life, because you don't, you know, the next life, you don't know what the next life is. And we can't sit here and figure out what the next life is going to be. You know, appreciate this life that you have.
Yeah. Amazing. And that's a nice way to end. Appreciate the life that you have. And like you said, do all what you want to do in life, and never feel fearful, never feel afraid, never feel scared, and just go for it. Just go for it. So I hope that you do come to London. We're going to have to maybe arrange for you to come to London, because I would love to see you also. But thank you so much for allowing me to interview you. Continue doing what you're doing. You're inspiring and so powerful. And I hope you have a lovely day. And thank you so much.
All right. God bless you.
And you. Bye.
Okay.